everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of Me as Well. I'm your host, Lamia, but I'm also known as Mia. And today I have a new guest. My guest come all the way from Brazil. How do you say hello in Brazil again? Damn it, I forgot.
Oi, that
Oh,
could work. Yeah.
how do you say?
Oi.
Oi, oi. We have Elder Diaz,
Yep.
who I actually met at the Mulai community. And ever since we've been in touch,
Yes.
and we've met with a communal friend. There you go. My English is gone. How do you say?
Friend in common?
Friend in common. There
Friend
you
in
go.
common. Who was our friend in common in Mulai?
Well, Erica is our friend in common.
Erica's our friend in common in Mulai. Okay, yes. We're both very good friends with Erica. Yes.
So welcome. Well, your name is Helda, but
Yes.
everybody calls you Diaz.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
welcome on Me as Well.
Thank you so much for having me, Mia. This is way more professional than I expected, and I'm actually quite excited for this. Yeah.
Thank you for making time. And I'm actually really excited for this episode with you because it's a very important and interesting topic that we'll be talking about.
Yes.
However, as you may know from my all my episode, I always like to know a little bit more about my guest and also for the audience to know a bit more where you come from. So tell me a bit about your early years.
Well, I grew up in Brazil. I lived there until I was 21. Had a very normal childhood from nothing crazy, just doing things that kids do, playing around and having fun. And then by the age of 21, I decided that I wanted to just get out of there because I come from way deep in the jungle side.
Okay.
Still the state of São Paulo, but it's closer to the coast, and there's not much going on. There's a very small city, it's about 50,000 people, and everybody knows each other. Everybody's somehow cousin or friends of a friend. It's a very small community. Well, it became much bigger now since I left, but it still has that very countryside vibe. And then after I graduated in college, I just decided that I wanted to see the world. I had a very, very boring job at that time. And I was 21, but I felt deep inside I was like 40 years old. Like I had a very stressful job. And
What were you doing?
I was working in a bank. It was completely different. Yeah,
No
completely
way.
different.
I
Yeah.
don't see you working in a bank.
Me neither. Yeah, that's why it didn't work. That's why it didn't work. And I was 21. I had an ulcer in my stomach because I was so stressed all the time. And every Sunday I had this dreadful feeling of I have to go to work again on Monday. And yeah, it was pretty bad. And then I made the decision that I need to see the world. I need to explore. And then since then, I've been traveling a lot, visiting new places, living in different parts of the world. And it's been a fun journey since then. Yeah.
So it's been 3 years since you moved to Dubai.
To Dubai, yes. But I've been in the Middle East I moved here in Dubai first in 2013.
Okay.
And then I stayed for a year and a half here. And then I left to Qatar. And then I lived in Qatar for about 5 years. Since then, I've been to Indonesia. I was a little bit in Alaska. I was a little bit in Lithuania.
Alaska.
Different. Yeah, I went to Brazil back again, and then I came back here to Abu Dhabi, and then Dubai again. And Dubai again, it's been 3 years. Yeah. So.
Okay. So since you moved, so basically you kind of knew what to expect when you moved here, right?
Not the first time in 2013.
Okay.
That was pretty shocking. I was expecting a lot more of glamours and gold, but I made here for the first time for a job in a hotel, and working in hospitality in Dubai is not the most fun job that you can have. Unfortunately, people in hospitality here work a lot, and they work very long hours for a very minimum wage. My respects to all the people that are in hospitality, especially the front of the line jobs like waiters and waitresses, reception, bartender, and this type of jobs. and that's why I made it here for the first time. So when I came in 2013, it was just basically working nonstop.
Yeah.
That's all I was doing. Uh, it it wasn't so bad because I had a great group of friends that we were very united, and we were about 15 of us. There was
That's nice.
13 Mexicans, one Costa Rican guy, and me. So it was a bunch of Spanish-speaking people, Latin people. We would have fun together, but it was just work, work, work. And we had breakfast together. We go to work together. We come back home together. It was like a family type of vibe, which was okay, but it was a lot of work. It was very tiring, very tiring. So that was the first shock when I moved to Dubai.
You would say that was the biggest challenge you faced when you moved here, right?
Ah, definitely. And then you come to Dubai, and from Brazil, I had this thing in mind that you're gonna go to Dubai, you're gonna make a lot of money, and it's gonna be easy for everybody because everybody has a lot of money. Everybody makes a lot of money in Dubai.
Yeah.
And then you come here, and it wasn't as I expected, of course, in hospitality. But then I just stayed here for a year and a half, and then I got blessed to move to Qatar and work for the airline, which was a life-changing thing. And since then, my life has been so much better. Yeah, definitely.
And I truly appreciate you being honest about this part, about saying how the reality of Dubai is, because a lot of people...
Yeah, people expect...
Exactly.
I'm telling you, I'm sitting in this podcast. People in Brazil think I'm rich and I made it in life, which is not.
That's what I mean. Like, I think like a lot of people have this image of Dubai being, oh, it's so easy. Like my own family. When you're talking about where you're from in Brazil, it reminds me a lot of Mauritius. Mauritius is very similar. It's a small island. Literally, you can be going to the north, south, east, west, and trust me, the probability of you bumping into somebody that you know is like very high, you know?
Exactly.
So it's very small, but I mean, it's a beautiful island, don't get me wrong, but it's just extremely small and you can't grow. But like when I told like my family, oh, I live in Dubai. Oh, you must be making a lot of money. You must have, I'm sure you'll find a rich husband. And like, you live. I'm like, guys, you have no idea what my life is all about.
No, yeah, we have to work. In my town, I'm kind of famous. I'm the friend that lives in Dubai. Because I always say that from my city, for you to make it to Dubai, it's as close as going to the moon. Because it's impossible. Like it's unfathomable for somebody from my city to 100%. Live outside the country. That's number one. And then Dubai is something that they see it on TV from time to time. They don't even know what's going on here.
Yeah. So
they expect me to be friends of Neymar or something. But no, we have very normal lives in Dubai.
Exactly. And even like, I agree. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel like Dubai is a great place if you want to start. Like I've mentioned that in many of my episodes whereby, it's a great place whereby they give you the opportunity to grow, but you've got to work hard and grind. And for me, the first person that comes in mind is like Erica herself. Like when you see her, Erica.
Ah, okay.
When you see herself like with her own company, yes, she's the CEO of her own company, but I know that she's been working extremely hard. And it's just like that status that people attribute to you, like, oh, you live in Dubai, you're a CEO, you must be like earning shitloads of money and you must living your best life, but they don't see the behind the scene.
Exactly. But I'm still blessed.
Exactly.
To live here. I'm really grateful and I love Dubai. Yeah.
Exactly. No, I agree with you. I mean, nevertheless, yes, it's hard, but we're still blessed. It's a beautiful place and security compared to other places. So yeah, but I just appreciate you being honest in that, because that's what I want to also portray a lot in my through my podcast, is that transparency through people.
That's great. I think you're bringing normal people that lived in Dubai for a long time. I was watching Julie, I think is her name. Yeah, and she was explaining how she lived here for a long time, and just brings a different side of Dubai that people normally don't see, because 100%. They go on YouTube and they see people with Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and there's a bunch of normal people here that don't ride Lamborghinis every day.
Guys, I still have a rental. I don't have my own car, but anyway. So then afterwards you moved 3 years ago. Was that better, your experience when you came back?
Yeah, I mean, the city had grown so much. There was so many other things going on. And then I came with a an idea in mind that I wanted to change careers to a different career path that I wanted to take. And since then, for the last 3 years, it has been really, really good. And yeah, it's been a blessing. This second time in Dubai has been much better than the first one, for sure. Yeah.
All right. So before we move into the main topic that we're going to be talking about, I want to hear a little bit more about your career. What do you do now? I mean, I know, but
You
tell-
know, now I manage a fitness studio at 45. You probably heard of it.
Yeah.
We're actually sponsoring this podcast.
No, they're not.
No, we're not.
I wish, if you're ever listening, please DM me.
I manage a fitness studio, which is at 45. I'm also a coach there, and functional fitness has been something that changed my life for the last 10 years. Basically, I've been working out, and I've stumbled upon this thing, and it has been. If it wasn't for fitness, I wouldn't even find a passion for books, for example, which the topic we're going to discuss today. So this is what I'm doing at the moment, and it's a big challenge to manage a whole studio and create a community, which is something that we're really working on. And as challenging as it is as rewarding at the same time. And I'm really, really excited for this new project that I just started now a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I mean, the difference is here is like, now you're really enjoying the job. It must be hard, but you're enjoying what you're doing, And
exactly. I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, actually, and she said when you're working for something that you're really passionate about and you see a purpose in what you're doing, it's long hours is obviously a lot of work, but it doesn't feel as dreadful as working for somebody else. And just it's now it's been a real blessing this last few months.
All right, now let's talk about the main topic that we're gonna discuss in this podcast: books.
And this is my gift to you. I don't know if you read it
Thank
yet.
you. Oh my god!
This is my gift to you. I just got it. I'll sign it later on.
I will hug you after, but thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay, you can sign it like Stephen Bartlett.
Like Stephen Bartlett, like I was famous. One day you're gonna sell this book for a lot of money because
Thank you.
Dia signed it for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. By the way, guys, Stephen Bartlett signed my books on Sunday.
By the way, how was meeting Stephen Bartlett? That was curious about.
Oh my god. So all my faithful audience, friends, family knows that I am obsessed by him because basically Stephen Bartlett was someone I stumbled. I was on social media when I moved to the UK, saw him, and I saw a post that intrigued me straight away. And then I was like, oh, interesting.
When was that?
In 2019.
Oh, okay.
And I started to follow him on Instagram, and I really liked because he always posts those pictures with quotes, and I could always relate to it. And I was like, oh my god, yes, that like, and the more and more. So then afterwards, at the same time, he launched his podcast. And when his podcast was starting, I was always listening to it, but then at the same time, COVID happened. And during the hard time, I was literally listening to his podcast religiously on my walks. And the more and more I was learning a lot, it was very constructive advice. And I also like the fact that he's extremely authentic. So, and I can see the progress of like before and now,
Is he your inspiration for having this?
Yes.
Oh,
he's one of my biggest inspiration because when I see what he does and how he even, like the people he brings on board and the way that he bring interesting topic for the podcast is amazing because he brings a lot of value. You're learning without reading a book. Exactly. You get what I mean?
And now he has such a big platform. He's able to attract so many good people to his podcast. He's doing a great job.
And it's insane. And like, I remember talking about books, I'll get to the first book that I purchased and I really liked after, but one of my favorite book was obviously his. As soon as he released his book, trust me, at that time, I was like saving money and all. And as soon as his book was released, I was like, I need to get a copy of that.
Did you like his book?
I did, actually. Do you know what? Because his book was Happy Sexy Millionaire, the first one. And the reason why I liked it is because he mentioned that, how he always wanted to have the fancy car, the big house.
Yep.
But then when he reached that millionaire status, he realized that he was very unhappy.
Yeah.
And this was something that I realized a long time ago because from my family in Madagascar. Okay. A lot of people there have a very fancy life because in Madagascar, you're either rich or poor. You don't have the in-between,
Oh, okay.
you know? You might be a normal people, but just because you can afford your rent or stuff, you're considered as a rich.
Already.
Yeah.
Just because you can pay rent.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
You
I want
can
to move
pay
there.
rent. Exactly. You pay rent. You have your own little like shop. You have your business. You're considered as someone rich, and a lot of people in like within my family, they're always like, oh, we want to become this person and that person. They wanted status, they wanted cars, and they wanted
Yeah.
and then I realized that for me, I don't want this. For me, all I want is a decent house, a normal life.
Yeah.
I like if I tell you where I see myself when I'm older, it's a normal life, absolutely normal. I can provide for my kids. I have enough to support my family and to live a normal life,
Yeah.
such as traveling, doing the things that I love, and that's it. And when I realized that he was talking all of this in his book, that's when I realized, yes,
Yeah.
he's really my idol. Like he's really talking about what I want people to also understand.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I was flipping through the book and I was reading and I was like,
Yeah.
yes.
I got that book as a gift for my birthday a couple of years ago, and my friend just bought it because of the title. It says "Happy Sexy Millionaire."
Yeah.
And she wrote on the back when she was signing it for me. She said, "You already have the first two. Now go get the third one."
Yeah.
Which is Happy Sexy. It's like that's a great segue.
That's a cute. That's actually smart. To be fair, I like it.
Yeah.
What did you think about the book?
I thought it was. I like the part that when he tells his story because I didn't know who he was until I got the book. And then he talks about how he grew up. I think he's in Manchester. He grew up in Manchester, and he basically had to go through the couches to get pennies to buy food, and then he creates this company, and basically from his computer he created this massive media empire, which is super
100%.
cool. That bit I think I like when he started like giving life advice, a lot of his his things that he went through and how he frames his thoughts. But yeah, he probably read a lot of the other books that people normally read. So I like the way he framed different concepts in his
exactly.
In his light. Yeah.
And that's what I like as well, which is because he also puts out the message that you can start like it's just a matter of like taking action, believing in your goal, and just getting it done. Because like he said, he's not someone who comes from a big background.
Yep,
he's someone who comes from.
It's a proper success story.
Exactly,
you know,
and that's why he inspires me so much. And I actually met him 2 years ago. There was this event, this developers event, and I was lucky enough to meet him. But it was crowded. There was a lot of agents. So I just got a quick picture, video, shook his hand and says, I'm a big fan of yours. And that's it. And then that event that I went on Sunday, it was a little bit more of a private,
Okay, so you actually got a chance to speak to him.
Exactly. So I bought the books and he signed it. And I was like, you're my inspiration. I started my podcast because of you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And then I just loved it. And in the book, he said, fail more. And I was like, yes.
That's cool. That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah.
Like literally he said, to Lamia, fail more.
Yeah, because if you're failing, you're trying. That's
exactly.
That's something we're gonna talk when we start talking about books. We're gonna go into that for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, it was great. But let's take right into it. How did you get interested into books?
Since early age, since I was a kid, actually, I was into books because I realized that when I read, I got better grades in school, so I just started reading more, and it was really a part of my childhood growing up. I read different books, of course. It was history books and geography books and biology books, obviously, until I was about 22, 23, and then I completely gave up. And then this book, Sapiens, is one of the books that Yeah, it's a very good book, by the way.
Thank you so
One of
much.
my sister gave me this book. I think it was 2017
Mm-hmm.
or 2018 that
Mm-hmm.
she gave me this book, and she gave me, I think, in Christmas, and by New Year's Eve I already finished it because the book
Oh
is so
wow.
good. Because the book is so good.
Wow. All
There's
right.
so much knowledge within every page that I got hooked again.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I need to start reading a little bit more. And then since then, it became like a massive part of my life.
Okay. And
And that's
so
something I'm really passionate about. I'm not really
yeah,
passionate about
nah,
many things in life.
I can
With
tell.
Eric, I would like to say that we don't hold strong opinions about a lot of things, which is, I think, is a good
Yeah.
way of living. But fitness, books, these are things that I'm really passionate about.
And I really like that because you know, whenever I invited you, I asked you, what would you like to talk about? And the first thing was like, do you like reading books? I was like, yes. But
Yeah.
like, I like reading books, but your level of reading books is like,
No, I don't read many. That's the thing. I don't
I'm
read
like,
many. I
okay,
wish I read more, but
it's another level.
but I'm really passionate about the books that I read. It's just that the thing that I like to talk about the least is myself. I
Yeah.
really don't like to talk about myself. I like to talk about concepts and ideas and success stories like Stephen Bartlett and these type of things.
All right.
And nobody would tune in to listen to me waffling about stuff. Definitely not.
So tell me, what are the books that you think, if you had, I mean, I bet you have a long of like books that you've read,
List,
a long
yeah.
list of books that you've read.
Uh-huh.
But tell me if you had to choose on top of your head right now, 3 to 4 books that impacted you, and why did it impact you?
Yeah, the first one I think would be Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. Have you heard of this book?
Yes, I've heard about it.
Yep.
Yes, I actually heard. Yeah.
I think it's a must read for everyone. Whenever I say a must read, Erica gets upset because she says some people don't like to read. And I say, just like vegetables, you might not like them, but you have to have them. Otherwise, you won't be healthy. I think books are the same. Even if you don't like it, you got to find a way to read more audiobooks or whatever. And Seven Habits is one of those because I think you will read Stephen Bartlett and you read any other success story and you read any other self-help or success book, and you have something that he brings on that book.
Yeah.
I think that's like the foundation.
Yeah.
And it's the book that I read, and when I finished it, I read it when I was already 30, 30 years old. And when I read it, I said, why nobody told me any of this before? Because I feel like if I read that book when I was 20, my life would have been completely different. It's just concept. It says Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It's when you think about work and getting things done, but it's just about accomplishing things in life, whether it's at work, whether it's with your family, your relationship, your health, whatever that is. There's a few fundamental characteristics that people need to have. And when you read the book, he goes through different examples of those. It's simple things. It's just concepts. Like the first one is be proactive.
Okay.
Right? Because people are normally, when you realize people are normally reactive.
Yeah, that's true.
He explains the circle of influence and circle of control and circle of concern, which is there's a few handful of things that you can control, and there's a bunch of other things that you have zero control of.
100%.
And the majority of people spend time arguing about the government and the weather and their bosses and whatever, and they don't focus on the things that they can actually control. So it's this type of concepts that, and when he says be proactive, is just focus on that instead of being reactive to the external circumstances, right? The second one is begin with the end in mind. So you have to have an idea of what you want. Otherwise, you just be moving around. And
100%.
right?
I agree. Yeah.
And I think that's the central theme of most self-help books. That is you just take power to yourself and get some responsibility in your life. So the 7 habits also for me, it was very impactful because I think for people that are in a job, whatever that is, if it's real estate, if it's fitness or whatever job it is, once you start reading through that and you start applying that stuff in life, it's now that I'm kind of hiring people and being in the interview processes and all, we realize that the common sense is not very common, especially with in the workforce, right? You work in a big company. I don't know how many people are there working with you.
I mean, we're a big company. I don't know the whole figure, but like in secondary, we're around 50 people.
50 people is already a good number of people. So they will probably have a problem hiring more people if the company grows exponentially, right? And I think for you to be just qualified as a professional and to stand out in the job market, if you apply the stuff that he explains in the book, you have massive advantage over people that have no idea about what he's talking about in the book. So that was a very important one. It's actually the first book that I read, and it's like, okay, now I need to start reading more because these people compress so much knowledge into 300-400 pages.
I know,
and
right?
They spend years researching, and you can read it in 1 month and you absorb all of it. So that's the first one, 7 Habits.
I like it because, to be fair, I am a big overthinker, and I 3/4 of the time I worry about things that I can't control.
Exactly.
And this is something I've been working on, and I see that over time it has decreased. But there are certain things that takes a long time to fix.
Yeah,
but
it's a lifelong learning.
Exactly.
It's not a toggle switch that you can switch on and off.
Exactly. But I personally like that it's true, because I think 3/4 of the, like you said, a lot of people are always worried. Like people like myself, I'm talking about myself right now. I always worry about the traffic, this and that. Coming back to Stephen Bartlett, he had a recent podcast with Mo
Galat.
Yes.
Galat.
Yes. I didn't want to.
The happiness guy. Yeah.
Exactly. I didn't want to torture his name, but exactly so he recently did a part 2 with him, and he was saying if you know the traffic is gonna affect you, just find something that is going to make you happier. So listen to a podcast, listen to music, something that will actually distract that, you know? And it is something you can control.
Exactly. For me, the basic example is you lived in the UK, is the British that wakes up every day and complains about the rain. Like, oh my God, it's raining. Your life is going to be miserable every day that rains in the UK. How's
I agree.
How's your life is going to look like, right?
I agree.
And you have control over, because you're not a tree. You can buy a ticket and move to Dubai. There's so many British here. That's why they're all here, I think, because of the weather.
To be honest with you, I loved it when it was raining.
I know.
I grew up, people call me crazy. They're like, how do you like the UK? And I'm like, I lived on an island. It was hot all the time. At least I can enjoy the rain.
See, but that's the thing. You can see it's the same rain for you and for somebody else, and you can have a different approach to it. So yeah.
100%. All right. Book number 2.
Book number 2 will be Mindset by Carol Dweck.
Never heard of this one.
It's a very good book. And also, she's a psychologist, research psychologist. And her research on this field started when she gave tests to about 10-year-old kids. And she basically divided the kids into 2 groups. And the test was slightly above their capabilities, let's just put it that way. So it's a little bit harder than 10-year-old level. And their responses, she divided into group after their responses, because some kids went, this was too hard.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not smart enough. And no, I don't really like math, or I don't really like the tests. And the other kids, their response was, it was challenging. I need to study more next time.
Yeah.
Or, oh no, I like a great challenge. No, this was, I didn't go very well, but I need to study more. So they have this idea that if they fail a test, or they took a low score on a test, they can improve themselves. And that's what she divided them into. In people in general, of course, it's not yes or no. It's a spectrum, obviously, but it's a fixed mindset and a growth mindset.
Yeah.
So for growth mindset, the idea is that whatever you want to do, you just don't know how to do it yet.
Exactly.
And if we adopt that for anything that we want to do in our lives, it's gonna completely change. If you think about it, you you came to Earth and you didn't know how to read, you didn't know how to walk, you didn't know how to drive a car, you didn't know how and you learn it,
Exactly.
right? And in my profession, I see a lot of people that say I can't lose weight. Now imagine if you tell yourself every day that you can't lose weight. I can't stop eating chocolate. Maybe you can, right? So the idea of the whole book, and she explains in different areas of life, in academics, in relationships, um, in many aspects of life. If you just adopt the idea that whatever you want to do, you can learn, your life will change completely. And it's a very, very interesting book because she gives examples in all areas of life, and it's really, really cool. Something that flipped for me is that on the relationship side, for example, right? If you always fighting with your partner about the same thing, like one of the two of you will have to learn how to deal with each other, how to right. So after I read Mindset, I just realized that you can learn anything you want. Maybe let's just say you want to learn the guitar, right? You not going to be a Sheeran next year, but at least you're going to be able to play some tunes if you got the right coach, and if you practice every day your guitar, you're going to learn it.
Yeah.
But you can say for the rest of life, I don't know how to play the guitar, and just be like that and be something that you wanted to do, but you didn't do it because you didn't have the will to. So I think that would be book number 2.
And I like it because 3/4 of the time, because of that, like you said, that fixed mindset, you think, oh, I can't do it. And then afterwards, time passes and you're like, oh, I regret I didn't even give it a shot.
Exactly.
Exactly. I could have done it, but because it's a fear also, it's a fear that you have in your mind that you can't do it, and you lose, let's say you don't have confidence in yourself as well.
Yep.
But then when you overcome this, you realize that, oh, it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad. Yeah, exactly.
And that's the reason why I love to do those CrossFit competition.
Yep.
Because they are scary. And then I'm always saying to myself, like, how will I do that? I don't know. But then it's just like when the event happened, the competition start, and I do it, and I'm like, see, you did it. Because you actually, you believe in yourself and you did it. It's like there was the High Rocks I did in January. And this was the competition that I was honestly the most stressed about, to a point that I felt sick one day before the competition.
I remember.
I was absolutely I was dreading the event, just because, we did it in teams, because there's different categories, but we did it in teams, and I just didn't want to let down my team.
Yep.
I'm someone, like, if I compete alone, it's fine, because it's on me. I'll be like, okay, you did shit, but
you are on a team and don't want to be the weak link.
Exactly. Yeah. So and when I finished it, I remember when I was dreading the wall balls, because I had 100 wall balls to do, and I reached the wall balls and I was like, okay, you've got to do it. You've got it. We reached past 50. I was like, okay, you're almost there, halfway there. The last 20, I was tearing up, but I was like, okay, you got it. You done it. And literally when I crossed the finish line, I cried.
Yep.
Because I said, you see, it was just a fear.
You've done it. Yeah.
But you've done it.
I think this fitness, I mean, I'm biased to say because I'm in fitness, but I think fitness challenges, whether it's a race or a High Rocks or a marathon or a CrossFit competition or a rowing challenge, whatever that is, it's really good, a really good test for the majority of the people are doing it just for the fun of it. No, in High Rocks, there's probably 2% of people that are really competing to win the prize, but the rest of the people is doing as a personal, how can I say,
personal achievement.
A personal achievement. They're doing for the personal achievement of actually finishing it.
Yeah.
And I think it's brilliant. That's why High Rocks, Tough Mudder, Spartan races are so popular, because people just want to do it to prove themselves.
Exactly.
Which is great. Yeah.
So I love that book. I didn't read it, but I'll read it.
Mindset. Yeah.
All right.
Carol Dweck.
Just before we move to book 3, how did this book impact you? Like, in which field exactly you would say that book impacted you after reading it?
After reading it,
Yeah.
I think it helped me when I transitioned careers
Okay.
because I went from working in hospitality to working in fitness, which are two completely different things. And then you just have to realize that you have to learn.
Okay.
And since then, I've been obsessed about learning things, new things, and just adopting this curious
Yeah.
mindset. Like, how do you do that? How does that happen? How can you get to this result? Like, what do you do in that? Even now that I'm running my own gym, and I just hired a coach recently, and I'm constantly asking him questions. How did you do that on previous gym? How? Because I think you can learn anything you want. With that book, I think that was the idea, and then it made me way more curious about life in general.
I agree. All right. Moving book number 3.
That's a good segue to book number 3 because we were just talking about something, and the name of the book is Outwitting the Devil. Have you heard of this book?
No.
No, that's a book you probably heard of. Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same guy that wrote the book, but Outwitting the Devil was not published for 70 years, more than 70 years.
Oh.
He wrote basically the 2 books that speak about the same concept.
Okay.
Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil. But in the second one, he basically personified the devil, and it's basically an interview of him and the devil. And the book is very, very interesting because it talks about a few things that you were mentioning. And it's in general, it's a success book as well. And it was hidden for so long because it's very controversial to talk about the devil, especially in America. And imagine if in Brazil, it's hard to say the devil now, 2024, because people are very religious. Imagine 7 years ago. That's why the book was hidden for so long. And basically, the book divides people into 2, and he calls them drifters and non-drifters.
Okay.
And drifter he says drifters, for how I like to define it, is people that live their lives in autopilot.
Okay.
And they're just going through the motions in life. And they have a job that they don't like, and they have a husband or a wife that they're not really into it, but they're being together for so long that they're afraid to break up. And they don't take much action. And as you said, they have fears. That's how the devil, that's how he says he takes people to the habit of drifting, is basically through fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of ill health, or fear of death, or fear of poverty. So these types of fears is just that he personifies the devil as one person.
Okay.
But I think the devil is in all of us, and the devil is that force that you said that stops you from doing things.
Yes, I agree.
There's an author that calls it the how does he call it?
Limited belief.
The limiting beliefs and all this. There's a different word, but I'll get to that. But it's just that there's a very nice documentary. It's called Stutz. Have you heard of it? It's on Netflix. Stutz.
I think I saw it.
Yeah, with Jonah Hill. And
I saw it because my Netflix is in French, but I think I saw it.
But he talks about the part X, and the part X is the part of yourself that's always there and it's never gonna go away. But it's trying to stop you from taking action and changing your life.
Yes.
And that's how I think of the devil, and the devil is there. It's in all of us
100%.
somehow. And then the second, so he says the drifters are people that don't take action. They have low self-esteem, and they don't believe in themselves, and they just don't think for themselves as well. So they are influenced by media and the culture and their upbringings and all this stuff, which for us is something that we broke free from it, because now you moved away from, if I was still in Brazil, if I didn't have this breakthrough of I need to leave this place, I'll probably be bald, big belly with 3 kids to take care of, and my life have taken a completely different turn. Nothing wrong with that, but it's just that is not for me. That's something I made a decision to move.
Yeah.
So, and then there's drifters, and there's non-drifters, sorry. And the non-drifters are people that have what he calls in the book, you probably gonna, if you read Think and Grow Rich, he talks about the same, which is a definite of purpose.
Yeah.
It's just something that they really want to strive for, and something that they will create a plan for it.
Yeah.
And they're going to take massive action. And it's something that I was talking, our good friend Mateo.
Yes. I know him.
Our good friend Mateo was actually saying, wow, I really admire that girl Mia, because she's really pushing this podcast and it's super cool. And I think it's great, right?
Love to Mateo.
Mateo, yeah. Ciao, he's leaving, by the way. Yeah. So the non-drifters are that, and not just that they take action, but they inspire other people to take action too. And for me, you're gonna ask how that book impacted my life. And he talks about many ways that the devil can actually take you. And it's simple things like alcohol that impairs your judgment, and cigarettes. He talks about how bad cigarettes were 70 years ago, when people were not even talking about that.
Yeah.
Right. And he talks about how people stuff their faces with food. And he talks in the book about clogging their intestines. And 70 years ago, he was talking about this stuff. And now I'm in fitness. Obviously, I'm biased to say as well, as you see people that have no control over what they eat.
100%.
You would experience it, right?
I have.
So basically, you were drifting. You're just not acting on your own. You're not taking responsibility for what comes into your mouth.
100%. I agree.
Right?
Completely.
So the book is very, very thorough on explaining how the devil takes you to the other side, and explains how you can break free from that, which is basically taking responsibility of your life and thinking for yourself instead of being just swung away by different external forces. It's a very interesting book. I think everyone should read it. And that book,
I really like it. By the sound of it, I really like it.
Yeah, and that book was also the book that got me into, because you say I read a lot of books, but I cheat as well because I listen to a lot of them.
I mean, it's still reading. It's still a book achieved, like a book done.
So that book was the one that got me into audiobooks. And then since then, now I don't read as much as you think. Just as I said,
listens.
But I'm still keeping about a book a month, which is far more than most people have.
But it's still amazing, you know. Yeah. I used to read way more when I was younger, but fictional. I used to read a lot of fictional before I moved to like self-development book. But that book, I like it because I like the concept about, do you know what? It's the funny thing is, my mom, maybe that's an old school mentality, but when I tell my mom, there's something wrong, la 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 la, she always says that one thing to me. She's like, because she believes in the devil, you know. She's like,
that's the thing. She believes in the devil himself. Yeah.
It's like I kid you not.
Is your mom Catholic?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good. That makes sense. Yeah.
So she would tell me, don't let the devil control you. You have to oust it from your mind. And I'm like,
there you go.
Okay, mom, relax. It's not that, but I get you. But now that you say it, I get her point as well. Because this is how, so all the fears, whenever I fear something, she always tell me, that's the devil.
Yes.
Always tell me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I never actually thought it in that sense, but now that you mention it, it's interesting.
No, in Brazil, people are very scared of the devil. People are very religious, as I said. So I think the book does a good point of not, of course, he personifies the devil, but it makes a good point of that the consequences you're not going to suffer in a different life.
Yeah.
It's not going to be outside when you die or anything.
Yeah.
You're going to suffer the consequences right here. And if you steer away from the devil, you're going to experience heaven right here, which 100%. Is you're going to accomplish the things you like. And when you're accomplishing the things you like, you're going to be living in heaven, which is going to be everything
I agree.
Good. Yeah. It's a very good, very interesting read. I think that for me, the whole takeaway of the book It's that, how do you call that, those things when you go in the airport and you
Which
just
one?
walk faster? It's,
Oh, the not the
it's a travelator. It's not escalator.
not
It's
an escalator.
walkalator. I don't know.
Walkalator. Let's call it walkalator.
I don't know what's the
It's
name.
fun. And
Walkalator.
here you
Everybody
can
knows what I'm talking about.
walkalator, that thing that basically when you step on it goes
Goes
phew.
really fast. Yeah.
Exactly.
For me, the central theme of the book is that life is basically one of those walkalators against you, but really, really slow.
Yeah.
If you walk, you're gonna be able to move forward, but if you stop, it's gonna take you backwards. And I
That
think
is so nice.
yeah.
I have a very I like whenever, when I try to explain something or try to picture something, I like to picture it in my mind. So what you just said right now, it's very, I'm a visual person. That's the word. I like it.
And you have to be constantly taking steps forward. Otherwise,
100%.
you're gonna be taken back. Yeah.
I agree. All right. So let's move to the last book, number 4.
Book number 4, I think, would be, I thought of 3, but I think book number 4 will be Sapiens, which is the one you have in front of you.
Okay.
Which is by this brilliant guy, Yuval Noah Harari, which is Israeli gay guy, which is, he's very controversial to be born in Israel with very religious society with all the Jews over there. And he is a historian, and he wrote 3 fascinating books, and this is the first one, Sapiens, which became very popular. This book, I think it became more popular. The book is brilliant. But when Obama retired, he went, I think, on CNN, and retired, no, he finished his last term. And they asked him, what you're going to do now that you're not going to be in office anymore? You haven't been working like crazy for the last 8 years. He said, I'm just gonna go to the Bahamas, and I have a bunch of books, and what I'm gonna do is read. And they asked, which book are you reading right now? And he said Sapiens, and the next day was sold out everywhere. It was a bestseller. But the book is really interesting because it talks about how we became from I would just say 10,000 years ago with basically no difference in our DNA from the Homo sapiens. We were from early Homo sapiens. We were basically making fire with sticks, and now we have satellites.
I know. Crazy, right?
Isn't that just mental?
Crazy, right?
No, the idea that we are here talking about this, and then people in Madagascar, Madagascar?
So Madagascar, the people are Malagasy.
Yeah, the Malagasy people can watch this, which is being recorded by a camera and then being broadcasted to a satellite, and there's YouTube. This is
mind-blowing, right?
It's insane. If you tell someone that was born 100 years ago what we have now in terms of technology, they will go, you're mental.
100%.
And the book talks about how we, as a species, were able to organize ourselves to create these amazing things. It makes a good point about how if you put a human, one of us, in the jungle with a monkey, it is, and you had to put your money on one of those to survive, of course the monkey is going to win. Like, there's no way.
100%, yeah.
But if you put the monkeys can organize themselves about a group of 30 or more.
Yeah.
You went to see Stephen Parlett, right? How many people are in the stadium?
50 plus? Around 50 plus?
No, in the whole stadium, like 25,000?
Oh,
5,000?
when the first time?
No, this time now. It was a big stadium, right?
No, it was a very private one.
Okay, let's just say you go to...
The first time it was big. It was like in Atlantis, there was 1,000, 2,000 plus.
2,000 people. Now you can organize a football match and there's 60,000 people seated just watching a match.
I know, right?
Like, how did you imagine the level of organization that it takes for that?
Yeah.
Imagine if you put 60,000 monkeys in one stadium.
Oh, God.
How would that look like, right?
Yeah.
So the book is about our ability to cooperate as a species that it has taken us where we are right now. And one of the key attributes that he talks about, that is our ability to create and of course, to communicate and to create and believe in stories.
Yeah.
Money is a story. Money is a piece. You cannot eat it. You cannot wear it. You cannot use it to clean your house. But it's a piece of paper with a couple of pictures and signatures in it that create some value. And you believe in the dollar, and I believe in the dollar just the same.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any sense, right? If you actually think about it, it's just
it
a
is
story we
true.
created,
Yeah.
we adopted, and it
100%.
works amazingly. But if you bring a $100 bill to indigenous tribe in Brazil, they're gonna go, "What the hell are you talking about?" Right?
Yeah, 100%.
It's the same thing with countries, for example. People are so attached to their nationality, and it's just a border that somebody put in a map, and it's no, you're from the other side, and I'm from this side, and we're completely different. It's like, no, we're just human beings.
Yeah.
But it's all these stories that humans were able to create through time that help us organize ourselves and just dominate the world like we are. How many? 8 billion of us now?
I don't know. I stopped counting at this point because too many people are making too many babies.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. But it's a very interesting read. As I said, every page of it is so much knowledge.
I will.
And it's a book that I finished it and I thought, okay, I feel a little bit smarter. Maybe I should read more.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm still dumb as hell, but yeah.
Oh no, I don't say that. But like honestly, what I like is it's true. Like look at nowadays when you look at, for example, AI.
There you go.
Excuse me, it was
There you
this
go.
year.
Yeah.
Call me stupid, but it was this year that I found out about Chat GPT.
GPT? Yeah.
I was like,
Oh, it's recent. It's not that old anyway. It's recent.
no, but like I think it was from last year. I don't even know. But anyway, there was that one day. I don't know who mentioned that to me, and I was like, okay, Chat GPT, write email to XYZ.
And then the everything.
I was like,
it's brilliant.
you should have seen my facial expression when the email was typed. I was like,
yeah. And there's so many. ChatGPT is just one model.
Exactly.
There's so many more.
And just imagine, just like that, you copy paste sent. And I remember I actually copy pasted it and I sent it. And the response was, "Thank you so much for your very professional email." And I was like,
yeah.
all right, you and me, we're going to be best friends. Excuse me to my clients, but yes.
So the author is very concerned about AI. So his first book is Sapiens, which made us how we came from monkeys to where we are to AI, basically. And the second one is called Homo Deus because he thinks it's a very futuristic approach, obviously, but he thinks that we're going to evolve as a species at some point.
Yeah.
Once we manage to blend machines, computers into us, there's not going to be sapiens as we see each other, as we see ourselves anymore. We're probably going to live 150 years or maybe more, and we're going to have bionic alarms.
I saw that there was something about that. My young colleague, he's a colleague / friend. He comes with me in the morning and in the evening to work. And we talked about that. Do you know what? And that's why I love talking to him because he's 21 years old.
Okay.
And when he tells me about the things that he sees, it's crazy. It blows my mind. And I'm like, damn, when I was 21,
we had no idea.
we didn't have that. I didn't know nothing.
And you're much younger than me, so yeah.
So I was like, So he was telling me about that apparently they're developing something to basically make your body kind of freeze and you can live for like God knows. I don't know. I need to ask him. I'll come back to you about this, but I need to ask him again. But thank you. I like those 4 books that you picked.
Yes.
And I will definitely read them because I'm not going to lie, I didn't read any of them.
What about I have one to ask about. You said Atomic Habits, which is...
I love Atomic Habits.
James Clear he's brilliant. He has an amazing newsletter. If you sign up 321 every Friday, his newsletter is just brilliant. That guy writes like he's prolific. I love that dude. And then the other one was Mountain is You.
Mountain is You is something I'm reading right now. And
Audible keeps suggesting to me. I'm concerned about reading, but how is it?
Mountain is You is... I love the way that he writes it. It's like, it's a self-help book that actually makes you... there's some book that is heavy to read. Yeah. And I as much as I love it, but I will take much more time to finish it because I want to be present and actually like focus when I'm like reading the book. And this one, I read it. I started reading it. Actually, I had it since last year. and I read it, but then I kind of forgot about it. And I picked up the book again when I went to Sri Lanka.
Okay.
And I wanted to read it again. But it basically tells you how you basically self-sabotage sabotage yourself, and in so many ways.
In hundreds of ways.
And it is mind-blowing. Like, you know, he gives you different types. And I'm just like,
yeah,
it's crazy. But I didn't finish the book yet. But it is a book that I highly, just a couple pages already, and I was like, oh my God, I love it. You know, it's like that kind of book that I don't want to leave it. Like, I really want to finish and know what happens at the end. Really so cool. This is a book I highly recommend. The first ever book I read, I mean, apart from like childhood books, was Macbeth from Shakespeare.
From Shakespeare. Okay, I heard it's a dense read.
It was a dense, but do you know what? The thing is, why I like this book? Because it was written in the English way of that time.
Yeah.
And I was doing, so basically, when I was in secondary school, you had to choose 3 majors and 3 normal classes. My majors, one of them was English, so English as the main, but literature and language. So we had the literature part was heavy. And part of it was that book. I really loved it. It was the way that he expressed himself. It was a very different way, but then and it's a book that when you read it, you don't understand what he's trying to say. But
that's what I was thinking. English is not your first language, is it?
No, it's French.
Oh, that's terrible.
Exactly.
To read something like that.
Imagine. But you know how book changed my life. So I'll tell you a little story. When I moved from primary to secondary school, I moved to an English with British curriculum.
Okay.
And I moved there, finished my first year. And as you get the result to know if you're going up for the next year, I actually passed with like borderline.
Oh, okay.
And I remember that day because my mom got a big like envelope like this with a full on, and she panicked. She was like, if your dad knows that, he's gonna kill you. You're like, you know, that's how much pressure we had.
Really?
And then I was like, okay, so we go to school, me and my mom, and we speak to my head mistress, whatever you like, head master, whatever you call it. And we're sitting down, and then afterwards she's like, you know, Lamia is a very good student, but her English needs improvement.
Okay.
Okay, great. And I was like, cool, amazing. Bear in mind, my English was shit. Like, shit. And I was like, okay, how can I improve? Read books, practice English.
But you don't go to Macbeth straight away when you improve your English.
I was reading, that's when I started, like, very, like, that's what I was saying, like, very, like, those kiddie books. I don't even remember the names. Like, one of them was, how do you say Petit Chaperon Rouge?
Red Hood,
that girl, one.
Little Red Hood.
Exactly. One of them was this. Yeah. I started with the most.
How's that in French? Little Chaperon?
Petit Chaperon Rouge.
Petit Chaperon. Okay, good.
So it started with this, like, very like kiddie, because I had that's how bad my English was. I had to go back to kiddie level to learn those words, and then I was forcing myself to watch TV in English, and anyone that I would surround myself with only English speaking people. I would force them, because in my secondary school, can you imagine, even the gardener was speaking in English. I was like, oh wow, great. I don't even understand you, but okay, fair. So that's how it all started. And then obviously that's how I loved the book. But for me at that time, at that age, I didn't know much about self-development books. Okay. What I knew about it was mostly about, there was this book that really marked me. The author is Sidney Sheldon.
The mystery books, right?
He has basically, in most of his books, he talk about people that have multiple personality.
Oh, that sounds fun.
And there was another book that he called Nothing Lasts Forever. Okay. It was about, the whole book is about a hospital, if I'm not wrong. And they kind of tell you the life of different people. And then they tell you that nothing lasts forever till the end. Like, it's a long time. And my memory about it is, maybe, don't quote me guys on that. But what I liked about his book was that he was talking about how one person can have multiple personality and unknowingly, and this is actually a disease, like
Okay. Yeah.
it's actually
Yeah, of course.
real. And but what really caught my attention is the way that he would describe it. He would describe everything in this book in such a way that you could actually visualize yourself,
Oh, so
you
he's a
know,
very great
as
writer.
if like that's these books I was reading them very fast. Really loved it. Then obviously I stopped reading. Don't ask me why. I just stopped reading trust me, after doing literature, learning
Oh, I can
poetry,
imagine.
and
Oof.
Macbeth, and all of this, I was like, okay, I need a break.
Yeah.
Which I did. And then I moved to the UK. Then I started to like read about self-development book.
Yep.
One was a monk that owns a Ferrari.
The monk that sold his Ferrari.
Sold his Ferrari. There you go. That's the
Monk that
one.
sold his Ferrari.
Like this one. But another big another big role model that I have is Tony Robbins.
Okay, yes.
He is
the man himself, yeah.
spectacular.
You get to see him live a couple of weeks ago.
This
How
year,
was that?
oh my goodness. Like, he is even better than what I thought. When I found out about him was because one day my mom and I, we switched on Netflix and we're like, okay, what are we gonna watch? And then
you watched this documentary? Yes.
Mind blown.
I remember that documentary.
Blown.
There's a podcast I listen to, which is Chasing Excellence, that I've been listening for forever, since it started, basically. And he mentioned, Netflix suggested it to me first. I watched the first 10 minutes. I was like, why am I watching this? And I completely turned away. Probably a year later, the guy that hosts the podcast said, everyone should watch this documentary. It's Tony Robbins, I'm Not Your Guru. And I started watching it again a year later, same documentary, and then 10 minutes in, I was crying already. So yeah, I know, it's a very good one.
He's an incredible personality. Again, another success story for me. If you read his early life and how he managed to reach where he is today, and even change his, we were talking about mindset.
Yep.
If you see how he changed his mindset, is incredible. And basically, this is a bit what he showed us in that when he came to that event. He said it's all about your mindset, and he is full of energy. A man of this age, you should see him on stage. The energy, the way he speaks, he's always smiling, and it's just
his personality is huge. He's a big guy. His personality is huge.
Like, when he is in front of you, you just want to, he's so such a positive light, it's like that kind of sunshine that you need in your life. Really nice guy.
I read Unleash the Power Within, which is one of his books as well. And he has one that's called Money Mastery the Game, which is like
that's
this thick.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Tony Robbins is way better speaking than writing. Of course, you can
100%.
go through his books and read it, but when he speaks, you just want to listen. He's one of those guys. Yeah, he's one of them. Which is the opposite of Yuval Noah Harari, for example, which is phenomenal reading. When he's talking on his podcast, you just want to sleep. Which is different. People communicate in different ways, right?
Love it. Well, yeah, that was basically my book, but obviously my forever, Stephen Bartlett.
Stephen Bartlett, yeah.
To my heart. I love this man. But yeah, The Mountain Is You, though. Read it.
I'll give it a go. Yeah.
You will love it. All right. Before we end today's episode, we have a tradition, and I know you know about it, and you want to avoid it.
This is not a very good tradition for me, Mia.
Rapid fire question.
Yes.
I should have a like a little, like a music, when I go.
Like an introduction one. Yeah, exactly. Rapid fire questions. No, it's your fault, this one. I told you to cut it completely.
Yeah.
And now I hope you guys can edit this podcast, because if I have a stroke and I can reply, the things, and it takes 30 seconds, it's not going to be rapid fire.
Listen, it's easy, funny, and somewhat a bit intense, emotional.
Oh, wow.
But it's not that intense. All right. Let's start very easy. Fictional or non-fictional?
Non-fictional, 100%. Yeah.
See? Favorite time of the day to read?
Morning after breakfast.
Okay. Brazil or Dubai?
Oh, Dubai, obviously. Yeah. Dubai.
Okay. A book character that you'd like to meet Or book character, book author.
Book author that I would like to meet.
Yeah.
Ben Bergeron. He wrote Chasing Excellence and Unlocking Potential. He's a CrossFit coach. But yeah, Ben Bergeron. That's a no-brainer. Yeah.
If you listen to us, I'll put his Instagram. You can meet him.
Please. Yeah.
All right. Kindle or books?
That's a tough one. I don't have a Kindle.
But are you more digital or
I think if you have a Kindle, you have way more opportunity of reading than just carrying your book around.
No.
I'm still using the physical books. I'm into physical books, but if somebody wants to give me a Kindle, I'm happy to have it. Yeah.
Okay. I like books. It's nice.
No, books are great.
They
Yeah,
smell
books are great.
nice. You know that.
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm a book.
And
I'm
there's a sense
hard,
of accomplishment when you finish
yeah,
it. So,
for me, it's hard. Even though I know it's not practical to put in your bag, but I'm still a book girl.
Book girl. Okay.
All right. If you had to choose only one book that you could read over and over again, which one would it be?
Oh, that's a tough one. It will probably be rather 7 Habits of Highly Effective People or Think and Grow Rich, I think.
Only one.
Only one? Oh, I think I'll go with 7 Habits. Yeah.
Okay. All right. If you had to write a book, what would be the topic about?
Oh, wow. Marijuana. No, I'm kidding. No, you'll probably be fitness somehow.
Fitness related?
Fitness related, yeah.
Not even about self-development?
In my opinion, fitness is a catalyst for living a better life.
Yeah.
And that's how I always like to portray fitness to people. And once you start really taking care of your health and of yourself, it's just going to cascade to different areas of your life. So if you use fitness as a central theme, you can put a bunch of self-development stuff there and it will still resonate.
Okay. All right. One last one, the juicy one. All right. One advice that you could give to your younger self.
To my younger self? Buy Bitcoin. No.
Your younger self would be like, what is Bitcoin?
What is Bitcoin? Yeah. No, I think you'll be, well.
You can take a moment.
Just trust yourself a little bit more because I struggle with that. I'm still struggling with that, basically. But just trust yourself a little bit more. Trust your own decisions a little bit more, and don't overthink it too much. In the end, everything's gonna be fine. Just relax. Yeah.
I like that. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. I loved. Really, it was a very, very nice episode. I really enjoyed talking about books with you.
I hope I made some sense. I was talking I was talking about that with someone at work because I just start talking and in my head everything makes sense. But then I'm always afraid that somebody's looking at me like, what is this guy talking about again?
No.
But I hope it made sense. Yeah.
Final thought, final words before I end and close today's episode.
Start reading, people, and start exercising. If you're not doing it, you have to start. That would be my final thought.
Any advice for new readers?
Just pick up a book. It could be a cookbook or or how you call that, manga? How you call those?
Comic book.
Could be a comic book. Just pick up something that you're interested at and don't have to commit it all the way to the end. If you don't like it, just switch it. That's something I learned with Naval Ravikant. He wrote a very nice book, which is the Almanac. You should read it as well. And he says he has no attachment to books. Just pick one. If you don't like it, just switch to another one. But it's just the habit of reading. It's a very important one.
Thank you so much, Diaz. It was lovely having you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, guys. On that note, I'm going to love you and leave you. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.